Come hear Uncle John's band by the riverside. Got some things to talk about here beside. Well, the first days are the hardest days, don't you worry anymore. 'Cause when life looks like easy street, there is danger.
Everybody, and welcome to the show. My guest tonight is a repeat guest. It's author Patricia Brooks, and thank you for being on again.
Thanks for having me.
It's really great to have you on, and we're going to talk a little bit about, you're the author of the series God is in the Little Things, and we're going to talk about a little bit about your first installment, and then we're going to go from there, and then we're just going to talk a little bit about general info about what you're doing.
Sounds good.
So you survived the winter?
Barely.
Yeah, I'll tell you, how it was Monroe as bad as Wallingford. It seemed like we got snow every third day, all winter. But it is great to see you. Well, you are the author of the series, God is in the Little Things. And why don't you first tell us a little bit, Patricia, about the first installment, and then we're going to go in on, and you're on your second installment in the series, God is in the Little Things. So let's give them a little background on God is in the Little Things, the original, and go from there.
Okay, great. Well, my first book is God is in the Little Things, Messages from the Animals.
Yes.
And the whole God is in the Little Things series is my true personal spiritual journey.
Yes.
And the first one is regarding it's actually my story, starting around the time of my divorce, the breakdown of the marriage, the aftermath, and kind of my subsequent recovery, I'll say, emotional recovery, as told through the visits of animals. Physical animals have visited me, acting as animal totems.
Yes.
And my belief, and a very ancient belief, is that animals come to us, either energetically or spiritually through God, or and communicate with us with messages for us. So my book, Messages from the Animals, is my story as told through the different visits of animals and the messages that God had for me.
Yeah, and we have a copy of the book is right here, everybody. We could tell you where to get that a little later, maybe in the show and everything. Okay, so that was your first, the installment. Now there's going to be 3 different books in this series.
Well, it's really interesting. I mentioned it's my spiritual journey, and it's really unfolding. I'm getting a lot of messages from a lot of different people or spiritual experiences. So I was told I was to write books. I never had any intention to write books.
That's great.
I was a high school teacher up until about a year ago, not even, less than a year. I haven't been a teacher. And I was told not only was I to write a book, I was to write a series of books. And I've been told there's going to be 3. So we'll see. Right now I'm on my second.
Okay, and what is this installment going to be titled? Do you know?
This is God is in the Little Things, Messages from the Golden Angels.
Okay.
And this one is really, really cool. The first one's cool, but this I think is a little cooler.
They are cool. I read the first one and I liked it.
It's what's my continuing spiritual journey. But I talk about, and I detail very specifically, golden beings or golden angels that keep appearing to me through different spiritual experiences that I'm having. So through past life regressions that I'm doing, or different healings or meditations, many different types of experiences, these golden angels, golden beings keep showing up for me. And so it's really cool. So I can talk about my deepening spiritual understanding, and I can also share with the readers different types of spiritual experiences that they can have to also increase their their understanding of their own spirituality.
Yeah, well, I always, the higher power is always there for if you want it,
Right.
whatever it is, I always tell people, your belief may be different than mine, but there is a higher power there if you let it come into your life, and it manifests itself in many different ways, and you've proved this with your book, and if you let it come, it really does come. I've had a new affinity for meditation since I read the book, and I started doing a lot of meditating, and it's such a great way to start the day.
Oh, it is. It's nice to center. It's nice to connect. I've really, in the past couple years, really, deepened my understanding with my spiritual side. I use the phrase, look through your spiritual lens, or look through the lens of spirit, and seeing and showing up in the world as a spiritual being instead of as a human being. You know, I'm a spiritual being kind of working within the human context. And that's how I try to approach things now, and that's how I try to view other people and experiences. And it's a completely different paradigm shift than, you know, what I think we're all used to.
Well, you know, it's spirituality is, I had a person that talked to me once about the difference between religion and spirituality is, you know, religion's for people that don't want to go to hell, and spirituality is for people that have already been through hell, you know.
I've heard that. That's really, actually, it's really funny. I think there's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of truth in that because in my situation, in many people's situations, it seems that until something catches our attention, and usually it's a traumatic event or an emotional event or something that's very wounding to us, we just kind of keep living our lives and doing our thing, and we're not really paying attention. But in my case, the divorce and the emotional, you know, aftermath that I was feeling really caught my attention. And then I started looking, searching for deeper answers, a deeper understanding, and that's when my spiritual journey really started to happen.
And you have this path, and you know, your writing is a conduit to your life. It's really what, you know, expressing yourself is a big thing. And I try to tell people, don't hold it inside, let it go, because you can. The more you let it out, and the more you put it to paper and let people know how you feel and how you're handling your situation, it gives other people, they wake up and say, wait a minute, that's the way I felt. And that's, you know, and it's enlightening. Listening, a lot of times people, like, when they hear things like this and when they read the book, they'll understand that there is a way to be one with your higher power, I will say. You know, just for lack of a better word, I call it the higher power.
Right, right. Well, you know what's interesting is writing seems to be very cathartic for me, you know, so it is a great outlet. But I know that I'm supposed to be, you know, I'm kind of following or finding my life purpose through this, and I know it's to share the messages. I know it's to share the connection, the oneness that we're a part of. And when my book is very honest, and I'm very honest with my emotions and my experiences, and people do relate. So they read the book, and I get so many emails or so many messages that say, you know, I'm reading my life with your words. One woman recently, it just brought tears to my eyes, sent me a message and said that, you know, she suffers from depression and anxiety. And after reading my book, it was the first time that she could remember that she was excited to go to sleep at night, so that she was excited that she could wake up the next day and start her day with a different thought process, with hope in her heart.
Over again. Start over again, you know, like with a new outlook.
Right.
You know, start the new day.
Right. Start looking and saying, wow, this helps me to feel hopeful. Not only do I realize that other people feel the same way that I do, but there's a different way for me to look at, you know, a different perspective for me to see the struggles that I'm having and why I'm possibly having them, and what good can come from them, what gifts can come from the struggles.
I found it very relatable. When I read your book, I know that I said a lot of people are going to be related, and I did keep sending you emails. Page 34, really good, second paragraph, and I kept doing it. So I felt like I was doing a book report. I was like, hey, they wanted to synopsis. Hey, what did you do today? And I couldn't put it down. After 34 to the end of the book, we went really quick. Because I was very interested in it, and you know, it got better and better and better as I got more comfortable with reading, and as I don't have a lot of time, but I made time for that.
Thank you.
Well, along with your writing and everything, a very interesting thing is happening in your life this June. You're going to be ordained a minister, and please give me a little explanation of what kind of minister, and you're going to be an interfaith minister?
Yes.
And could you explain the difference between an interfaith minister and a multidenominational minister? I mean, I'm not so sure the listeners know.
Okay, yes, absolutely. This June, I'm very excited. It's the culmination of a 2-year program of study, seminary that I've been in, and I will be ordained as an interfaith minister. And this is part of my spiritual journey that's been unfolding, things that have been presenting themselves to me, so I've been following them. And an interfaith minister is very similar to what you were saying before. In the interfaith world, we believe that there's many paths to the mountaintop. You know, that there's one higher power, higher self, divine being, and that everyone has different ways to relate or connect. So we honor and respect all religious practices, all spiritual practices, whatever is in the highest and greatest good. Then, you know, then we honor and share that belief. And so non-denominational, my understanding is that there's not one specific, you don't pick a specific belief system, where interfaith, we honor and respect all belief systems.
Oh, okay. So that, that's really nice. It's really nice to know, and I'm really happy for you. Is there going to be a title change? Are you going to have to change your title?
I'll be Reverend.
You will be the Reverend Patricia Brooks.
Reverend Patricia Brooks.
I'm going to have to get used to that, and I will call you the Reverend Patricia Brooks.
Right. Me too.
It sounds really good. I like the way that sounds. Okay, so we'll move on a little bit. Well, you're a former teacher, right? And what I really wanted to get into this a little more, because you did so great the last time. We talked a little bit about this. When an author writes a book, I'm helping collaborate on a book right now about legendary locals in Wallingford. And I'm going on the education I got from the history of Wallingford. But when you write these books, and the God is in the Little Things series is more of a personal experience type thing. But how has your being a teacher and an educated person helped you along with this journey with writing this series?
I think it's helped a lot because I taught for 11 years. I was a high school teacher for 11 years. And that really allowed me to interact and relate with people, students and colleagues and parents, in a way that, I really got to understand what's really important, to people, and it's really the personal things. It's really the one-on-one, the understanding, the compassion, the way that you relate to people, and even as a teacher, reaching that person that maybe has been unreachable in the past, finding the way to connect to someone, and I think I've been able to use a lot of that when I'm writing. I'm very conscious of just really saying, okay, this might be even a little embarrassing for me to admit this or talk about this, but I know that this may reach someone. I know that someone may relate to this, and I want to keep it honest, and I want to keep it real, and I know through the so many years of teaching that that's really the only thing that works, and really the only thing that matters.
Yeah, and it's true. I wanted to ask you about that because the first thing when we talked over the phone, I think we talked over the phone, and we did a little thing. We met through LinkedIn, which I think, by the way, everybody, if you ever want to be able to get a professional network going, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I call it the adult version of Facebook, professional Facebook. I don't know.
It's great. It's really great.
And you put your picture in there, and I actually don't have a picture on my LinkedIn, but they give you a profile, and what you do is your expertises are laid right out underneath your name, and you have your picture there, and it tells you what to expect from this person, and you could actually hook up, and you could just send you a message and everything, and that's how we met.
Yep.
And I think it's great because it gets you don't get any watered down. It's right to the point. You could just say, okay, that person's a carpenter, that person's a painter, that person does masonry. Just using those as an example, you were you were a teacher, and then you're an author.
Right.
And I was like, wow, sounds good. Let's see what we got. And here we are.
Here we are.
Another year and a half later, and you're on your second show. Right. It's been great to have you on. And but anyway, aside from that and everything, we'll switch it up again. You're starting a radio show. Can you tell us a little bit about the radio show and what that's going to be like?
Sure. I'm really excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for a lot of reasons. The show is going to be called Spiritual Lens with Reverend Patricia Brooks.
Excellent.
And I chose that name because that's really how I'm approaching everything. Like I said before, really trying to show up from a place of spirit, from my spiritual self, and looking through a spiritual lens, and approaching life and people from as spiritual beings, from a spiritual perspective. And I think that when people can start to do that, then a lot of our problems and our issues and our concerns really fall away, because things kind of really fall into perspective. We really see what's important. Yeah. So my show is going to be Spiritual Lens with Reverend Patricia Brooks. I keep saying Reverend, so I get used to it too.
You will say, and I like it. You can keep saying it because I'm going to have to get used to it too. Baby.
I am. I'm purposely repeating it. And so the premise of the show is basically, we can discuss everything, because really, all types of spiritual experiences, all types of spiritual beliefs, perspectives, but really showing up from a place of spirit, and then that's our starting point.
Well, you are photogenic and everything, and you do really well on TV, but these shows that you've been on, I've seen by some of your resume that you've done a lot of predominantly radio shows. There's a lot more radio shows available for you to pass your message on than so much of TV, but you have been on a lot of TV too. I saw you on Channel 8, and you've been on this show a couple of times, but you're comfortable with the radio.
I am. I think I'm just comfortable talking, and the radio is really easy. I mean, today especially, the radio is really easy. I'm really excited about the radio platform for a couple reasons. Not only does it give me another opportunity to have the discussions to talk about spirituality and I think when we start talking about it, people relate to it, and people go, wow, I get that, I understand that, that makes me feel better, and that's what I think my role is. So it gives me another opportunity to do that, but it also gives me an opportunity to have my own guests on and discuss and explore, different areas that I have a real interest in that I think other people might too.
Will there be any call-in?
Yes, it's a live radio show.
Awesome.
So it will be a call-in, and it won't start airing till June. In June.
Okay, and so have you done any practicing or anything, or do you have a format that you're going to have?
Right. I'm in the process now of kind of setting it up and training and stuff, but I'll have a lot of information on it on my website.
Okay.
As it gets closer to the time.
And that is?
That's GodIsInTheLittleThings.com.
Okay.
And there'll not only be information about the radio show, but there'll be links to it also.
Yeah, and it's informative, and you just got to click on it and just keep going and going and going. Like I say to people, you just got to keep pushing those buttons.
Right.
I was a novice a year and a half ago on the computer. I would ask Jerry, how do you turn these things on? I got a computer, everybody. This is the funniest thing was I didn't know how to turn it on. And I had to ask somebody, the button on the top. I turned it on. I had no Facebook, no Gmail. I had nothing. I had no LinkedIn. And I just had to learn it. And it's self-explanatory a lot. It tells you what you got to do. But from there, and I converse with everybody, and the LinkedIn is the big thing. So, well, that's really great. Let's talk about, so what else have you been doing? You have the radio show, you're doing the book, and is there anything else that's going on? Tell us, what are you doing?
Well, I write quite a bit. I'm in the process of finishing the second book right now, but I'm also a blogger. I have 2 blogs that I write.
Awesome.
And I write articles. I'm a contributing writer to a couple of different spiritual magazines.
Okay.
So I just keep, reaching out. I just really feel a real there's just a real strong desire, real push inside of me to know that I'm supposed to, share the messages.
This.
Yeah,
exactly, because when you see your writings and I hear you talk, it just doesn't seem like you run out of the information that you have. It's not what am I saying? It's not redundant. What it is, it changes. To fit whatever we're talking about. I mean, you never run out of things to say.
Well, you know why? Because it's life, right? I mean, it's all life. It's all about life.
Exactly.
And one of the things, if I could, just kind of share with your viewers, that is one of the biggest things that I've learned, and that everything just seems as kind of the core to everything that we keep talking about, is we talked even before off camera before about struggles or different people's life experiences, right? I talked about mine, the divorce and the aftermath and the emotional trauma. I hate to use trauma, but it was the wreckage, emotional wreckage that was left behind. I was the emotional wreckage for a little while, but my whole perspective of everything shifted. It really did shift, and I look at, some people say, we're here to learn lessons. I don't really like the word lessons, and never did, because to me that seems almost punitive. I like the word experiences. So I do believe that we are here to have experiences, and I do believe that the struggles, the problems, the issues, whatever comes up for us that we have to deal with is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow.
And to learn. Well,
And
basically
to learn, right.
And not that it's a lesson, but you have to. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you're destined to repeat
Right.
them. And that's if you don't make a positive out of the negative, you're destined to repeat the negative thing.
Well, I think it's because it's something that we're supposed to learn. It's something that we're supposed to understand. So I don't even know if it's learning. I don't know. Some words are triggers for me. So lessons and learning. As a prior teacher, that's kind of funny, isn't it? That those are triggers.
I was just going to say you.
But
have to play your reverend, and we're going to have to learn not to say teach.
Right. I like understand and I like
Understand it.
experiences. But I think that until we understand what we're supposed to, what our soul, what our spirit wants us to understand, because I believe what I've learned, there's that word, or what I understand more of now, is that we have we are in contact, that we are part of our higher self, the higher power, but we are also divine beings, and we are in connection with our higher self. And I believe that our higher self is always working and helping and, trying to give us opportunities for greater understanding. And until we obtain that understanding, that the opportunities will keep being presented to us.
A couple of the biggest life lessons that I've been taught was I try to get up every day and do something nice for somebody without an expectation of anything in return.
Right.
And of all people that gave me this lesson was George Steinbrenner from the Yankees. He said, go out every day and do something nice for somebody.
Right.
And if more than 2 people find out, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, wow, that's kind of insightful. I repeat it all the time. Because that means if you and the other person, if more than 2 people find out, that means you that's doing the nice thing and the other person.
Right.
If more than those people find out, you're doing it for the wrong reason. I thought that was very interesting, and I go by that standard.
Right.
Try to help people out every day, and it has really given me a different perspective on life. And I got a lot of that when I read what you put down on paper, and I listen to you speak on the radio, and in the shows you do. I found that I could relate to it so much. It was, it's very relatable and very easy listening too,
Right.
and not hard to understand either.
Right. Well, that's because we're all connected. We're all part of the greater divine power that you were speaking of before.
Yeah.
We're all here doing the same thing, and that's one of the beauties that I think that means so much to me, when people really seem to start to understand more and look more from their place of spirit, because then all the differences fall away.
Yeah.
And we really see that we're really all the same. And if we can show up each day, like you're talking about, with other people in mind, and to do good or to be helpful for no other reason than you just want to do good and be helpful to someone, everything just the vibration keeps raising, the love keeps spreading, and everything gets better and better.
The selfishness goes away. I mean, society today, as you well know, it's the me thing. Everybody's in such a rush to do everything now that I found myself rushing to do absolutely nothing. And what's the rat race all about? If you don't go out and help another person, if we don't help each other, it's not right to me. I was like, what is this all about? What are we here for?
Right. Well, it's interesting. Something that I've come to terms with. I'm in my 50s now, and I told you I quit my job last year.
Yep.
And I have 2 daughters, one in college, one going to college next year, and I'm a single mom. Okay. So for me to kind of quit my job is really not what we're supposed to be doing. But what I realized is that my life doesn't have to look any certain way, and there's no finish line that I need to get to, and when I look
what will the neighbors say?
Yeah, well, I'm sure they've said a few things, but that's okay. But what I realize is, if I look at my life as a collective of experiences, what that allows me to do, the freedom that gives me, when the expectations of this linear path that we seem to create for ourselves, it really just makes everything so much easier and so much more enjoyable, than kind of this predetermined construct we seem to have created for ourselves.
Yeah. So we know about that. It's a very great perspective. Now, what are some of the things you're touching on? We talked a little bit about it, but go in a little deeper on this. The second installment of the God in the little is in the little things.
It's Messages from the Golden Angels.
Yes.
And so it's funny because I've been having a lot of very exciting and really interesting spiritual experiences over the past couple of years. And I always thought when I was having them, wow, I'd love to tell people about these because I think it's just such a freedom in being able to explore your spirituality deeper. But I thought I was supposed to be writing about angels, which was interesting. And I'm like, well, I was waiting for like the sky to open and angels to come down and have a conversation with me or something so it'd give me something to write about. So I kept waiting and waiting for clarity on this book. And all the time I was having these spiritual experiences, and these golden beings, these golden angels were showing up in a variety of different ways in all of these experiences. And it really wasn't until about 2 months ago that I received divine clarity that the golden beings that have been with me all along were the angels that I was supposed to speak about. So the second book, I talk about past life regressions if people have an interest in that, and I detail mine, very specifically what happened with mine, or different meditations or different healings that I've been a part of. So we can delve into those deeper spiritual topics, and hopefully people will find those interesting. But in addition to that, I think of it this way, that the Messages from the Animals talks about the oneness or the connection we have with everything, and then the Messages from the Golden Angel talks about all the spiritual help and guidance and loving beings that are always with us, supporting us and guiding us. So,
well, the cover of your first book, if you notice, it reminded me a little. Now, this is an owl, I believe, but it gave me this sense of an angel almost. I sort of related to it a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
If you really do look at it, it almost there's a light coming, or there's an aura around it.
There's that halation. I was told that's what it's called from an artistic perspective. But you know, Bobby, you're really, really insightful, because the second book, I'm working, my cousin is my illustrator, and she's drawing the angels. And the theme are the wings, which is interesting. So the second book, which is going to have the angels on the cover, there's going to be a spotlight on the wings. So the owl has the wings and the angels will have the wings. So there's that common theme that you've pointed out.
So I am paying attention.
You are. You are. You're very insightful.
I try to look at things, and you know what? And I'm not just saying this. You know, when you came with the book before, I really wanted to understand the book, and we did talk in depth about the things and the place in the book I was, and I wanted to get a little more insight from you, and that's a beautiful thing. So we have, can you tell us one more time for the website we can go to? It's GodIsInTheLittleThings.com. And you could get follow that through, everybody, and look for the second installment, and it's called
God Is in the Little Things. Messages from the Golden Angels. And
you'll be able to see that on the website and stuff when it is finished and everything. And you'll have a new title the next time that you're on the show. We're going to have to. It'll be a little longer.
Yeah.
At least by 3 letters.
At least, yes.
But we're out of time almost. You know, see, I told you that it would go by really quick, and I was so happy to have you on again. And after you get ordained in June and everything, maybe during the summer you can come on the show again?
Sure, absolutely. I'm actually going to be moving out of state, so you'll have to have me on in the summer, or the winter did me in, and I'm moving south.
I'm telling you, I don't blame you. There's a lot of people that are moving south because of this last winter just didn't seem like it was going to end.
I don't think it has ended,
There's
actually.
Piles of snow. I mean, last month, we got a half a foot of snow almost about a week ago.
Oh,
last
wow.
Monday here. Right around this one little area, we got a bunch of snow, and it was wild. So now it's spring. Today was nice, but go south. I would say go south. It's been really great having you on, and again, good luck with the book and everything, and the radio show, and being ordained. Congratulations, and we look forward to talking to you again before you move south. You promised me you'll be on the show again.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much. The soon-to-be Reverend Patricia Brooks, everybody. God Is in the Little Things, the series. Go to the website, GodIsInTheLittleThings.com. This has been the Bobby O Show. Stay tuned for more installments here from Wallingford, Connecticut. We'll see you, everybody.
if my words did glow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp unstrung, would you hear my voice come through the music